Today I'd like to write a song from scratch using my diatonic method. This is where you take the 7 chords from a major scale and you try to write a song just using the triads and possibly the 7th chords from that major scale. I've done this in several videos and I've written quite a few tunes this way, and I find it to be a great way to get your creative juices flowing. This will help engage your ear and start getting the creative process going. From this restriction grows quite a bit of freedom when you're writing. So I'm going to start with the C major scale. It's one of the easiest scales to write from. In the C major scale we have C triad, D minor, E minor, F major, G, A minor, and B diminished. Basically what I like to do is start with one of these 7 chords. I rarely start with the B diminished, and oftentimes in this exercise I don't use the B diminished. If I use B in the bass, it's usually a G with B in the bass. However, the B diminished sound is fine if you want to use that, and you could even start with it. I'm going to start with one of these chords. Alright, I'm going to start with A minor. You can start writing the melody right away. In this exercise, I usually use the triad for the melody. So in this case, the root's already taken, the bass player will be playing the A, and I can make my melody either in C or in E, or both, C and E. So if it's both, I could go from C up to E, or E down to C, or I could go C down to E, or E up to C. 4 different possibilities, or just one or the other. I like this leaping down what ends up being a minor 6th. So we'll start with that. Now we need a 2nd chord. So you go to G, so you go to F. That's pretty. To E minor. Sounds pretty good. You go to D minor. That's nice. Kind of like all the things you are. Go to just to C. I like it going to F. So we've got our melody notes now for the first bar. I like that. So the A minor triad is the melody, but when we get to the A, we go to the F major triad to harmonize it. That sounds pretty. I'm hearing it go. I'm hearing it move down a step, which is the way the ear works. Pretty simple. Okay, I like that. Very simple. A minor to F, and then G to E minor. And the melody is the same, so it's 3 to 5 on the A minor to the 3rd of F major, and then 3 to 5 on G to the 3rd on E minor. So just a sequential melody. Okay, now I've written that much down. I hear it doing it again. Yeah, let's do that. Let's continue on the same little theme, moving down diatonically. So now I have a lot more. Could keep going. I think it's to do it that long, it ends up sounding more like an etude. So let's try to see if we can come up with a different way to end this phrase. Oh, that could work. Just a finally 5-1 at the end. That works nice. Let's hear it. Nice. Pretty, very simple. So I'm going to add that. Don't overthink this. If your ear tells you something, just write it down. You can always edit and edit and edit at the end. This method of restriction and trying to write within just triads really helps your ear start to become engaged, and then writing becomes much easier. So from restriction of some sort comes freedom. So giving yourself little puzzles to solve. In this case, this puzzle is writing music using diatonic harmony and using just the triads from the major scale. I give this assignment to all my students who study composition with me right away, one of the first assignments, and we revisit it continually throughout study because it always elicits more interesting and varied results. It also helps you understand your key centers in a very simplistic and thorough way over time. I hear the melody going. That would be pretty. A flat. I like A minor or F. I think A minor is the obvious choice. And again, just seeing where my ear wants to take me. I'm on that C major. I hear the melody doing that, so not sure what the chord is, but definitely going to put that. E flat and be a secondary or subsecondary dominant. Like D minor. Oh. There we go. So A minor to D over F sharp to G. So this would be our first secondary dominant if we do this. Functioning is D7 or 5/7 of 5 in the key of C. In this case, we'll call it D over F sharp. Ba, da, 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 da. Maybe not dominant, but maybe major 7. Okay, where to go from here? Let's just play through it again, see what our ears say. Definitely could repeat. Definitely sounds like it could repeat. Let's see. Let's see what the meter. I think this could be 2 bars. Maybe a D. I could make it B again. Let's make it D. Now we've got 16 bars, so we definitely have enough for a small piece, like a folk piece or a jazz piece. Let's see if we can go back to the top from this G, if it's going to sound all right to just go right back. Yeah, it sounds fine actually. What if we put a secondary dominant leading us back to A minor, so like a E7, this would be our second secondary dominant in the piece, 5, 7 of 6, E7. In this case we'll just use an E triad. So on the G major, yeah, that works fine. You could also put G sharp in the bass, and then the root motion will go G, G sharp to A. That's better. Good, that gets our voice leading back up high again. This tune kind of voice leads down, keeps going down like so many songs. The entire melody spans a tenth from low A to C. That is a good range for a melody, a tenth. I try not to go over a tenth usually when I write a melody. Okay, so now we have basically a really simple folk type of song based in triads in the key of C, has 2 secondary dominants, and now we can start to arrange the tune. Let's go through it and see if we can add some more color to the harmony. So on this A minor, we could make it A minor 9. Sounds nice, or A minor 7. I like the A minor 9, I think that adds some nice color to it. Since it's just the third melody, that could be a dominant. F7, that would make it sound a little bit more like blues. So a blues cadence might be like F7 to E7 to A minor. So that would give it more of a blues flavor, but I think we'll keep it in more of the folk realm. Maybe F major. I like that, putting a minor 9 on the E minor. Yeah, maybe major 7 on this, F major 7. The G, maybe leaving that, maybe add 9 on the G. I don't really want to commit to making that a dominant. And a major 7 takes it right out of the key immediately, but we can add a 9 to it, and that'll give it some color. Okay, let's go to the F. So we're on E minor. Could be F7. Yeah, so I think F major again, D minor, that could walk down right there since we have B in the next bar, so D minor, D minor with C in the bass adds the 7th, and it walks down. That'll sound nice. I think on the C major, I like C major add 9. It has 9 in the melody, so that will anticipate that melodic note. We could walk down again here. The bass player might actually do this anyway, so you don't have to write this sort of thing in, but a good bass player is going to walk down. This could be G add 9 as well, or G major, not dominant though. I'm definitely hearing it in the major realm, so either add 9 or major. I think I'm going to make it major. Basically a modulation now, since I've committed to G major 7 here. We're outside of the key of C. In C major, G would be G7, so G major 7 has basically modulated. We've modulated to the key of the 5. Okay, we're getting a little more color in our song. That would be nice, maybe a walk up with a sharp 5, major 13, or G major 6. Guide tone cliche, but it sounds good there. Maybe we could do it both times. Second time, I'm not going to do it. It does lead nicely to the E over G sharp, but I think there's enough motion there already, and it won't be repetitive that way. So just one time, the first time and not the second time, trying to see if there's any other opportunities to add some more color. You can really add a lot of secondary dominance. You can do a lot of modal interchange. When I use the G major instead of the G7, that's a form of modal interchange, changing the Mixolydian mode to an Ionian mode or Lydian mode. So that's possible with any of these chords. Or you could just think of targeting some of the primary chords with secondary dominants. 5-7 of 3, 5-7 of 4, 5-7 of 6, or sub 5-7 of the diatonic chords, which is just the tritone sub of the secondary dominant. In some of those instances, you would have to change the melody. At this point in the composition, I need to arrange the piece and bring it to a band. So what I'm going to do now is solidify the rhythm of the melody and arrange it. Arranging it, in this case, will just mean creating an intro and an outro, a way to begin and end the piece. I think it should be half to dotted quarter. And keeping that same rhythmic formula and creating expectation with the rhythm helps create a groove. If down the line someone put lyrics to this or something, then the rhythm might need to change to embrace the lyric. Okay, now we have 8 bars of rhythm. It's the same rhythm, but it works well with the melody. I use the exact rhythm that I would use to sing the melody. Don't overthink it. Unless you're writing a bebop tune, which is so much more focused on rhythm. Here in this is dotted half quarter. Da, da, and then a quarter note on this D natural as well. At this point I could bring the song to a band, rehearse it, and come up with an intro and outro in rehearsal. But let's move on a little bit and see if we can come up with an intro. Usually with an intro, one of the first things I think about is, can we vamp on either the last phrase or on the first phrase as an intro? So if we use the last phrase, it would be maybe just from the G major to the E over G sharp. Yeah, that works fine, just vamping between G major and E over G sharp. Alternatively, you could vamp on the first 2 chords, A minor to F. Both of those are fine. I'm going to use the A minor to F. This might be a good time to write a bass figure for the intro. Like that. That's nice, these fifths. So A to E, F to C. Put this in bass clef later. I like that. I could do a little voicing that works over both chords, and then maybe in a grouping. That might sound cool. Like a grouping of 5 or maybe 3. We can make it quarter note triplets. I like that. So we'll do that. We'll do quarter note triplets. Okay, so I brought in this intro, and I've used this voicing, which works over both A minor and F major. Ends up making kind of a Lydian, like sharp 11, 9, sharp 11. Okay, so I added a few little details here. I did a walk down C, the C add 9. I did one more walk down, so it goes from C add 9 to B in the bass to the A minor. And we've got ourselves a little tune. Now we have an intro. We can use that same intro as our outro. So I've named the tune West because I think it has kind of an Americana feel to it. So there you have it. That's the tune. I hope you found this walkthrough helpful. I appreciate you watching and leaving a comment. My name's Matt Otto. I'm a tenured professor at Kansas University. Thanks for your support. I'll see you on the next one.